Chapter. I'll record locally. Thank you very much. Let's switch over to that. Great. And today we're going to talk about how to create entrepreneurs at scale, and awaken Africa's potential, which I think is a very important topic considering all the challenges that we face in Africa, but I'll delve a little bit more into that later on. Yes, the webinar flow, the webinar will be about 20 to 30 minutes. I know everybody is very busy. Everybody has somewhere else to be. And that can be a challenge. I think what I need to do is I need to disable the audio notification for new people coming in. Let me quickly do that. So I know everybody can be anywhere else in the world right about now. And so we're not going to waste a lot of time. We're going to get to everything as quick as possible. Let me just take a look at where I can do this. Meetings. Okay, cool. Molly, you will be handling it. I don't have time to switch that off now. So what we're going to do is, why do we need scaling? Why are we not scaling at the moment? And what can we do about it? And then we're going to switch over to a Q&A session, and where you're free to ask any questions. Just a quick update about me, who I am. I'm the founder of the Human Entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for more than 22 years. I have a manufacturing background, IT background, 26 years in online as well, and also a specialist in job creation and the rapid incubation of entrepreneurs and businesses. I'm an international speaker on leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And then I am a single father as well to a beautiful 12-year-old boy who's going to high school next year. So very exciting time in our house. But let's get over to the webinar. You know, how do we create entrepreneurs at scale and awaken Africa's potential? But let's look at first, why do we need to scale? You know, Africa needs jobs, and we need it fast. Now, if you look at the top 8 countries in Africa, they all have more than 21% unemployment rate. South Africa, we're number 1 in that section, standing at 35. You know, that's the not the expanded one. The expanded one is closer, edging towards 45, 46%. Youth unemployment under the expanded definition is close to 70%. But just to create those jobs for South Africa would mean 8 million jobs, which is a lot of jobs. It's not something that you just quickly create. You know, and Africa's population grows at an average of about 2.5% per annum. So although we're creating new entrepreneurs, creating new businesses, create new jobs, the population is growing. So we're not really fixing this problem. And that's why scaling is so important for Africa, because to create 8 million jobs, okay, now 8 million would mean we're standing at 0% unemployment rate. That's not realistic for now. But even if we can just start reducing it by 10%, 15% per annum over a period of time, that would be a great idea. Because in South Africa specifically, we're sitting on a powder keg. Ladies and gentlemen, the frustration is, you can feel it on the streets. People are angry, they're hungry, and they're frustrated, and there's no answers, and it doesn't look like there's an end in sight. And we have to take this into account for the whole of Africa. When you don't have any food, when you don't have an outcome, and your child says to you, listen, Dad, I'm hungry, what the hell do you do? My son once asked me that question. I said, dude, I will steal anything to feed you. And for me, that's a concern, because as a father, I speak and I empathize with the other parents in Africa as well. We're sitting on a powder keg if we're not addressing these issues at scale. So let's look at, why are we not scaling? And before I get into this, I want to make something clear. I'm not here to play a blame game, to break somebody down or anything else for that matter. Okay, I'm not here to do that. All that I'm going to show is that what we are currently using might not necessarily be the best tool to get this flywheel, this engine going, this engine of employment going. And all the processes that I'm going to discuss with you and share with you in this complements other programs. So don't worry about that. I'm not here to step on anybody's feet. The stock standard approach that we use in entrepreneurial development in Africa and around the world is the Silicon Valley approach. Your typical lean startup business model canvas, design thinking, what's your MVP and everything else. And then we go into a pitching thing and it's so beautiful and everything goes nice for that. But there's a problem. That approach is irrelevant and non-contextual to the African situation and the unique African challenges or developing economy challenges that we have. Lean startup is a beautiful process. I mean, I learned the business model canvas from Osterwalder himself. Okay, it is one of the best tools that you could ever use. I learned lean startup from Ash Murai, who really figured out how to make lean startup work with his running lean methodology. So I do believe in it. I do apply in it. However, there's a problem. You need a first world environment and support structure to really make that work. Because it's an iterative process, it takes a long period of time. Now, in Africa, we don't have time. And this is where the problems come in. It takes too long. People are hungry now. To say, well, we're going to do this in 12 months doesn't work. Also, it's too expensive. It really needs a funding model because it's always this unique, innovative process and getting ahead of everything else, and it takes a lot of time. Now, in order to compensate for that in a third world environment, what we're trying to do then is we're starting to pay people stipends, provide transport, then back, food packages, etc., etc., etc. And what that does, it really just bloats the program cost at the end of the day. If you're looking at a typical 12-month entrepreneurial development program here in South Africa using the lean startup methodologies, you're looking anything between 10,000 to 20,000 US dollars per person. And I'm not going to delve into the success rate. Some of the government's statistics show that some of these incubators have an 8% success rate. Now, that is a major challenge because Africa and developing economies can't afford that level of cost. How are we going to create 8 million jobs at $10,000 to $20,000 a job? We simply cannot afford it. We don't have the creditworthiness for that or the cash on hand. And now you have to ask, if I pay the entrepreneur a stipend, plus I provide all the other things, what does that do to the behavior of the entrepreneur? And I've seen that. I've spoken to many incubator managers. They say, this guy is simply sitting in my incubator and getting the stipend. He's not pushing the business past a certain level where the stipend ends and he depends on the business. And I said, yes, you're suffering from incubation constipation because these programs take so long and now the guy sits there and it's not moving forward. So we're not creating a consistent impact on that. Also, that you have to think about lean startup is very beautiful. It's an opportunity-based process. If you want to really be at the edge of innovation and really push the envelope in it, brilliant. But now everybody is looking for that next unicorn. And yeah, I'm not a big unicorn better on that one as well, because you have to ask about what's the real focus of a unicorn? Is it ROI or impact? And it's not impact. It's there for the investors to make a lot of money. Yes, could it have a positive social impact going forward? Yes, it could. But it's not going to create the mass employment that we so desperately need now. So how do we scale? How do we move to scaling entrepreneurship to a level that we can really rapidly address entrepreneurship in Africa? Number one, we have to redefine job creation. How I see it in the human entrepreneur, creating a business means creating a job for the founder. Too many people go like, yeah, okay, so you create 100 businesses. How many people do they employ? 100 people to start with. They go like, well, yeah, so the founder works? Yes, it's my business. It's my livelihood. So start thinking about when you help a founder create a business, you help them create a job for themselves. And that is a very important distinction, because once you have that, if I create 100 businesses in a local community, now I have 100 families financially supporting themselves, but also actively participating in the local economy. And that has further knock-on effects. And that can later on create meaningful employment as we grow these businesses. But what type of businesses am I talking about? I'm saying in order to go big, we need to go small. Okay? Go small to really go big with this. What do I mean by that? I mean, we need to look at micro enterprises. Now, I know everybody's going SME development and SME this, but for a small business to be a meaningful employer takes many, many years. It's not something that happens overnight. Yes, lean startup and those processes really try to accelerate that to a profitable phase as quick as possible. But still, I think in many cases, what we're sitting with here is a situation where we're trying to plant a seedling and trying to harvest some fruit from it tomorrow. That is not going to work. We can't birth a productive human being, but we can start small. And what do I mean by small? And when I'm talking about a micro enterprise, I'm talking about the South African government definition of a micro enterprise. 10 or less employees. Here I have the figures in rands, but it's with an annual revenue of less than 300,000 US dollars. That is a good business. If I have myself and 4 employees and my business is doing $250,000, $300,000 per annum, that is a very, very good business, ladies and gentlemen. And here are the benefits. Let's look at the benefits of micro enterprise. It's a very short space of time to create these businesses. Cost less to create. Failure is less of an issue because there's not massive investments that you've done. Time investment. It's not that I committed 6 months of my time into this. It's much quicker. And we lose less money. And usually it's done in such a way that I don't have to invest everything. I can always survive and start it again. More inclusive. What do I mean by that? Because the barriers to entry is so low, it's more inclusive for a wider range of the communities that we serve. It has a rapid impact on poverty because you can create these businesses in a matter of weeks and take somebody out of poverty in a matter of weeks. And that's very important. It's fast and wide impact on the local economy. Like I said, if you create 100 businesses in the local community, it's 100 families that actively participate in the local economy. And then with this, you can create entrepreneurs at scale. So let me tell you where this all comes from. In 2020, we launched our process, the Rapid Job Creation Program. And that was during the lockdown in South Africa. And we took 57 unemployed youth in South Africa, and they had to build a business in 21 days without any external funding. Let me repeat that. Build a business in 21 days without any external funding. You're not allowed to use the F word in my class. Nobody's allowed to ask for funding. And they have to have customers and make enough profits to financially sustain themselves. We did 30 businesses in just 21 days. 73% were actually women-owned. And here's the kicker. So they only had the 21-day exposure to the work that we do. And then we left them alone. No mentorship, no coaching, no support, which is insane in this industry to do that. However, 7 months later, we followed up and 53% were still trading and profitable, providing jobs for 25 people. What the interesting thing is that really intrigues me is during that period of time, an additional 14 businesses were created. Thus, when somebody's business failed, or it had a challenge due to the lockdown, instead of going, it's not working, let me try and find a job, they went, okay, what other business can I start now? And that's the type of thinking that you want. That's the type of thinking that we need in Africa. Africa is rich in resources, and our people are resilient. If you're not resilient in Africa, it will eat you alive in a week. But we're very poor in resourcefulness. And as you could see, this program really awakens the resourcefulness within people. So what are the types of businesses that we create? I mean, poultry farms, food businesses, construction, internet cafes, beauty shops, transport, events, many more. We're agnostic, although you can use this in an industry-specific or sector-specific way as well. If you want to create thousands of hairdressing academies, let's go there. If you want to focus on farmers, let's do that. But let's look at why does this work? You know, we refer to this program as an entrepreneurial apprenticeship because what we combine is training, support, and practical experience. And why does it work? Because it was made in Africa for Africa. One of my trainers, and I'll get into the training capacity now, one of my trainers had his own incubator and took more than 1,000 startups through Lean Startup Weekend. And he said to me one day, Willem, my partner and I always thought that micro enterprises is the answer to solve job creation, but we could never make Lean Startup work for that level of entrepreneurship. He says, but what you've been able to do here is to make entrepreneurship relevant, contextual, and executable to the people in Africa who need it the most, the bottom of society's pyramid. And that says a lot. That says a lot. What we've been able to achieve with this program is to make it, we reduce the time of job creation down to 5 weeks and the cost per job down to about $1,500 to $2,000 a job. That's what it costs to create an entrepreneur with a business that can financially sustain themselves. Let's look at the scaling part. With the current training capacity, I can deliver 500 businesses per month. In 30 to 60 days, we can take that to 1,000 businesses a month. Over a 6-month period here in South Africa, taking the 9 provinces into account, we can do about 10,000 businesses per month. That's 1,100 businesses per province. We are planning other proof of concepts in other African countries in Q1 in 2023. So we're going to roll it out there and eventually translate into the other languages. But this program is duplicatable into other countries and other environments. So we can do thousands of businesses in each country of each of these developing economies. We don't have to go and do these processes where we take 20 people through a 12-month process and maybe 10 have a business out of it. We don't have that time. That's like standing on the beach with a bucket and throwing water back into the sea. It's not going to work. With this, we have a chance to do that. Imagine we take this into 10 different African countries and we create 10,000 businesses per month using this methodology in each of those countries. That's 100,000 new businesses per month for Africa. That's more than 1 million businesses, 1.2 million businesses for Africa in 1 year. And it is possible because why? This process fits in with other training organizations. Now what we do is we reduce other training programs risks, where they can reduce it, as well as their cost, and increases their chances of success. Because now I give you a growth-ready entrepreneur. You don't necessarily have to grow the business that they currently have, but you know that you're not betting on an unknown. You know this person can do the work and is willing to do the work and have the necessary entrepreneurial experience. Because now you can see what's happening. Now you can see the high performance and potential entrepreneurs. Most incubation programs are looking for the needle in the haystack. The 3% of people who are deemed high potential entrepreneurs that will build something massive. Now, what I'm saying, instead of looking for a needle in the haystack, give me the whole haystack. I'll turn the whole haystack into business owners, and in the process, I'll help you find the needles. So through this work, imagine through this work, we create thousands upon thousands of these micro enterprises, how it will energize the whole rest of the incubation and entrepreneurial development ecosystem. We can take it to a whole new level because that'll provide the entrepreneurs that those ecosystems need, that we can rapidly take forward. That's when you need the lean startup process to really take people and go, okay, well, how can we take this further? How can we push the innovation? How can we really get Africa to sort its own problems out? And that's the benefit of doing this, because now we can do it at scale. And let's look at a few applications. Yes, job creation in general is absolutely there. But this program, apart from being upstream from other development programs and entrepreneurial development programs, I'm also downstream from skills development. So what's the use of teaching people a skill and then I sit at home and go like, I'm looking for the job. Now you can turn that into a viable business. It's a great way to reduce recidivism. Let's be honest, people don't employ people who come out of jail and then they turn to crime to make a living and then back in jail. Now, in a matter of weeks, we can get them to build a business, to financially sustain themselves, not have to turn to crime to make a living. And it also now, instead of going to the family asking for money, they can go back to the family and say, I can financially assist. And that helps with the reintegration with the family and community. It's also a great way to help retrenched employees land on their feet. Many people lost their jobs during the COVIDs. And with this, we can really address that and redress it. Because if you take a white collar worker out of a business, out of the economy, that's usually a home loan, that's car loans and many other things. And with this, we can help those people really fall on their feet much quicker. So in conclusion, Africa needs millions of jobs. We can't create jobs through a slow incubation process where programs create 50, 40, or even 100 businesses. We need a process where we can create thousands upon thousands of businesses per month in each of these developing economies in Africa. And the human entrepreneur has that solution. And it's a great complement to other programs. And as I said, we reduced the time of job creation down to 5 weeks and the cost to about $1,500 or $2,000. Just an invite if you want me to speak at your event, next entrepreneurial event, about how we create entrepreneurs in Africa at a pace never seen before and how we're disrupting the development space and entrepreneurial development space, please reach out to me. But now it's time for the question and answer section. There are my details, hello@thehumanentrepreneur.org, and also connect with me on LinkedIn. Molly will send each of you a link with the recording to this, as well as a link to book a meeting with me if you want to further discuss any of these. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, let me know, and I can gladly answer that for you. Cool. I disabled the sound. Thank you, Molly. You disabled the sound. Do you have presentation for schools? Yes, I can. Garth, reach out to me and we can look at specifics for that. I am talking to 1 or 2 organizations to look at a test within the school environment. In South Africa, it's a bit of a challenge, and I'll share this with you. If we do it too late in the year, people are engrossed in their exams, and when they finish, they just want to go on holiday, and then they're going to attend the work and build businesses. If we do it too early and they make a lot of money, the problem that we sit then with is people drop out of school, and the government will be very angry for me to destroy their key performance indicators that they have to achieve every year. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation, but I'm always open to see how we can make that happen. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, thanks so much, Willem, for such an enlightening presentation. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, I can. Yes, okay. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much. Yes, Mighty. My name is Mighty from Mabul International. I think we spoke briefly on LinkedIn. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much
I remember.
for that. Yes, I think you are actually coming up with a solution, because in my 10 years of experience in government economic cluster assisting entrepreneurs, and I want to tell you that the results are not good, because I mean, if you look at the National Development Plan as a framework, as a program for the government to assist in terms of job creation, speaks about 90% employment. by 2030 through the SMME sector, and it means the sector has to grow by about 5%. Now, already now, we are not even in 2025, but already the government is accepting that the whole system is failing. It's not producing any results. I mean, that's very clear. So my comment is that thanks for bringing that to us as ecosystem players who really need ideas like that. But my question is, how do you see the ecosystem coming up with a program that can be able to achieve such results in under the policies that have been created by government and are not working? And the government is a policy maker. Government created that environment. The incubators that we speak about, the CEDAs of this world, the NYDAs of this world. How do you see us as civil society? How do you see us as ecosystem players coming together for the betterment of Africa through job creation and entrepreneurial development? Because without actually being highly influenced and controlled by the policies that have been developed by people who have never even run a spaza shop or just selling sweets for that matter. How do you see us navigating through those terrains?
Well, Mikey, that's a very good question, and not the easiest one to answer because there's so many aspects to it. And Charles, thank you for your question. I'll get to your question just now. Mikey, the whole thing is here. I play only in my environment. I don't offer any further support. I'm a good handover to other programs. Now, even with the existing systems and whatever the case may be, there is people taste profit very quickly. And when they go into these other existing programs, they understand now what's being taught. Let me give you an example. I had one young lady in my program, and she said, Willem, I'm part of a 12-month incubation program as well. And she said, you know what? All that they speak about is theory, and all that you do is money. And I go like, thank you very much. And she said, yes. 2 weeks ago, I attended 4 days of financial management training, and it meant nothing to me. Zero, zip, nada, because I had no money in the bank. What's the use if I have no way of applying what I've just learned? She says, but now that I have thousands of rand in my bank account, now I can start applying these methodologies. So how it's not that we have to disassemble and stop everything. It's that it's almost like a database. You get out what you put in. And with this, we can put a much higher quality entrepreneur into the systems, into those ecosystems, because that'll help that move forward. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thanks for that.
Thank you, Mikey.
We'll engage you further.
Thank you very much. Molly, make a note that we engage with Mikey. Charles Bolton, you have a good question here. Please share a high-level view of your development process if you can. Thank you very much, Charles. So the program is 5 weeks long. In week 1, we do a two-day theory program. It's called the Entrepreneurial Awakening program. And through that, it's mostly untraining of entrepreneurial thinking and helping people break through limiting beliefs, because our secret sauce that we do is we change the person, we change the mindset, and that's why we play at the bottom of the pyramid. Doesn't matter who you put into my class, if they're a mom of 45, a new father, a dad who got retrenched, youth, school kid, we change their thinking in a matter of days. We found about 10% of people will start a business the next day or during that week once doing the 2-day Entrepreneurial Awakening course. From there, we go into the 4-week, the apprenticeship section. And that's where they have to build that business with customers, making enough money to financially sustain themselves. Now, what I found interesting there is that many people will start 2 or 3 businesses and kill many of them during that 4-week period. Why do they do that? Because we rapidly test new businesses without having that massively long time investment. So if somebody goes like, that business is only a week old, I can kill it. And that's fine. It's not that they dedicated 6 months of their life. So the sunk cost is very low. And out of that is what we do. But the ratio is usually 3-to-1. So 3 people go into the 2-day theory, and 1 will come out successful at the other end. But that also depends. I have some CEOs that give me very high level, well-trained people to put in. If they give me 50 in the beginning, I take 50 right through usually, with very little drop off. So it depends also on the pre-processes that we do, and that's where I also work with other organizations to see what we can plug in there, because I think of the ecosystem and I think about the value chain and not just me in the picture. I hope that answers your question, Charles. Paulie, I see you want to connect me with the Startup Huddle organized in South Africa. Yeah, let's do that. Paulie, we have each other's emails. Let's drop a mail and make a plan on that. Zandile, do you have plans for testing in Zambia, or already have done a pilot in Zambia? No, definitely not. Molly, take note of Zandile Matetwa, so that we can make a plan to go and do a test in Zambia. I'll work with your organization to get the needed funding so that we can run a proof of concept. I have a few other African countries, but Zambia is not one of them. It'll be great if we can do that. Anybody, if you have in this webinar and you go like, yeah, let's go and test it there. Let's make a plan. If we want to try it in a specific industry sector, reach out to me and let's make a plan on that. I'm always, it's a consistently developing program. We always adapt it. So after each cohort, we sit with the trainers, we sit with the people in the class and go like, okay, what needs to shift? What can we shift? How can we better this? And that process will still drive as we go into other African countries as well. Thank you. Nozipo, hi there. Thanks for your presentation. I would like to know if your program is online. No, not at all. And for good reason. The first time we ran it, because it was lockdown, we took like 1,700 people through the 2-day theory thing. And it was an online program, and that bombed. It was a complete and utter failure for many reasons. Number one, people don't necessarily have that responsibility to go through that by themselves. Most people, many people, because everybody goes like, do I get a certificate? Everybody's collecting certificates. So they just click next, 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 and they print the certificate and they're happy. But also another challenge, I was working in Diepsloot the other day. I have LTE reception on my phone and it's looking beautiful and everything. And I have a download speed of 2.1 meg and an upload of 0.3. So even if I did it online, in most of those areas don't work. And in Diepsloot, there's 9 sections in Diepsloot. 1 section has electricity. So people don't have charge on their phone. And what we do is we do B2B training, ladies and gentlemen. That's referred to as belly to belly. And that works because it keeps people accountable, and we can directly work with people. So we even did that right through lockdown. Cool. Sandile, did I answer your question about Zambia? Yeah, your hand is still up. Cool. Thank you very much. Anybody else has a question for me? Thank you.
Sorry, Willem, I've got another question.
Yeah, shoot.
Me again. I just caught the tail end with regards to testing the concept with regards to training in companies. Have you also tried maybe the industrial sector, or is that something where you'd also like to go and test the pudding?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm open.
Nice cluster for
I'm an entrepreneur. You go like, hey, Willem, can we do that? I'm like,
yes.
Hold my water. Let's see. Let's go there. You know, so
okay.
I'm always looking. If you look at it, the first time we ran this program, I looked at it and went like, okay, it's a lockdown. We can barely move. We can barely do this and everything else. And then they increased the restrictions again. And I went like, wow, I could not have asked for a worse time to test this. If I had prayed for the worst times, this tops that. And I'm happy that happened, because if this program can work in Africa during a lockdown, in a country with the highest unemployment rate in the world, and it works. If it works here, it'll work everywhere. And that's the key thing, ladies and gentlemen. We always try, some of the biggest processes, they're brilliant, but you can't make a cheaper Rolls Royce. I wish you could, but it's impossible. But I can get people to the level that they can get to the Rolls Royce level. And with this, what we did here is now create something in Africa, for the developing economies, so we can take it to the next level. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? You have my email address. I will, Molly will send each of you a link where you can access to my Calendly. Please book a meeting with me. Let's talk about this. If you have a program, let's get into it. How can we combine the programs? How can I reduce your risk? How can I reduce your cost? How can I help you improve your successes? But also, if you do skills development, let's get people, let's complete the circle of impact. And if you want to run a few tests, so I'm talking to Asia as well, to India, let's make a plan. You know, now we sit with something that we can create thousands. Imagine we do this right through the developing economies around the world. We sit with a tool, ladies and gentlemen, that we can truly change the world with. That way, if you look at the sustainable development goals, with this, we can rapidly get to those goals faster than ever before. Now we sit with a tool. All that we need to do is work together. I'm not here to destroy other programs or anything. I'm here to work because I play so high up the value chain. I don't really see other people playing here. And by this is truly unlocking the potential of the poorest of the poor in the world. And now we can economically uplift them. And that's how we will create a more positive tomorrow. That's how we will create a tomorrow that our kids will look forward to. I see John. Do you have a question, John Maxwell? What kind of proof points do you find corporate demand before they get on board? Oh, goodness gracious me. So I have a robust measurement and evaluation process in place. The first year we ran it, the biggest flack I got, and I still get it in meetings today, your results are too good. We don't believe it. This is BS. And then I give them the third-party results that we do with that. The biggest barrier that I face with corporate specifically is go like, you can't have impact in 5 weeks. It's impossible. I go like, yes, we can. And they're like, no, you can't. And that's an issue also. But now they need to spend that money over a period of time, and that doesn't fit in with their agenda, unfortunately. But now with that you can create a job at $1,500, something like that. Now I don't really have to talk to corporates to get jobs going. Now even individuals can sponsor and get involved and create a job. They can come to me and say, Willem, can I create one job for $1,500? I said, fine. Let's find other people as well. You know, like a private funder came to me the other day and said, here's money for 10 jobs. And I'm like, fine. And I went and created 10 jobs. So with our process, it also makes job creation accessible to individuals and smaller businesses, even as small as $80,000 in annual revenue. I hope that answers your question, John. But if you have ideas of how we can better approach the corporates, that'll be great. Because I think this is a great way for corporates to invest that they can do their local communities. Because if they can uplift their direct local communities, it'll be beneficial for their business as well. Cool. Charles, yeah, let's keep talking in 23 and look at exploration of potential collaboration. That'll be great if we can do that, because you have a great organization. That's the Wadani Foundation. You guys do a lot of work and great work. Okay, just a quick one. Are you looking at the type of jobs entrepreneurs create, or is it only for the founders? That's a great thing. You know, so it's something that when they create jobs, sometimes I have to look away, and let me explain, because they pay people below minimum wage. I'm talking about $100 a month, but people still work for that because they don't have any other option for jobs. So usually it's in the construction guys that do the same work as them. If it's in a sewing business, it's usually the same type of work that the founder is doing. But the businesses grow quite quickly. So no, not yet, but we'll get to that. We'll get to the measurement and evaluation. We'll get more granular. It is a challenge in Africa because people change their phone numbers the whole time. Usually after 6 months, it's difficult to reach any of the original cohort because people change their phone numbers for many reasons. Number one, they get a better mobile deal and they dump that. Or second of all, a great way is if you owe people money is to change your phone number and they can't reach you, and then they escape debt collectors for whatever reason. Because if you look at the environments where I work in, people will go actually and borrow money to buy new bedding, and they will pay an interest rate of 40% per month. And people go like, yeah, I want to borrow that money. And that's because of financial literacy issues. But my friend Mlamule Mbambo does great work around that. And we work together sometimes on this program as well. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? I love to set up a meeting with as many as with you so we can talk about it, look at collaboration, look at where we can unlock new opportunities, because I think the time of talking about job creation has come to an end. It's now time to take action. It's time to make it happen. And we truly can. We can create jobs rapidly and cost effectively and sustainably like never before. Cool. Rudolf, what is great about this self-sustainability and getting people to feed themselves here after looking at employing? The idea is to open people's eyes to opportunities around them. Thank you very much. Yes. I sometimes compare my work to a talk that you will find on TED where it says that the title of the talk, and I'm butchering this, ladies and gentlemen, is poverty is not a mindset issue, it's a cash flow issue. And when I read that, being an entrepreneur, I went like, that's BS, that can't be right. And when I looked at it, it was based on the research that they did in India with seasonal workers. And in season, the guys have money and they make good decisions. But out of season, when they have no money, they make very bad decisions. And it ties in with what my one mentor, Hitesh Pema, said to me. He said, Willem, never be poor, because poverty leads to poor decision-making, which leads to more poverty, which leads to even more poor decision-making. And during that research, they found the cognitive impact of poverty can be as high as 15 IQ points. Let me repeat that. 15 IQ points. That's the difference between me being a functioning human being and this bottle of water. And that's a very gross overestimation there. But that's the thing with this program. Once you get people into profit so quickly, you could see, I always tell people that lost look that people sometimes have over their eyes when they just stuck in apathy, where they can't see a way out. I remove that in 24 to 48 hours. Now we can. Imagine having bright-eyed people running around, going with ideas, things that we can do, uplifting the local economies. Thank you, Rudolf. I appreciate that comment. Anybody else? But as I said, I will schedule meetings with as many as with you as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I see I'm running out of questions. I will upload the recording just now, so you can share it with anybody in your network as well. Please share it. And thank you, Elaine Cunningham. Appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, then I am going to end this webinar for now. Thank you very much, and have a lovely day, and hopefully speak soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.